I'm a volunteer with RIF. I also teach social policy, American social policy in colleges, and I worked in labor department at some time before, so I understand their language and kind of logic behind it. So I'm sharing this. I'm in no way a super expert in this specific bill, but the idea is to provide the basic overview in simple language, mostly for our clients, asylum seekers and asylees and other immigrants, so people understand the timeline of the new bill that just passed. I think Emma, we also can share our slides for those who can read instead of watch later, so you can share with your colleagues and clients later as well. What we're going to do, I will share the slides on the screen, and I will talk about all these different parts of the new bill, and after that, you can ask questions, and while I'm talking, please put your questions in chat, and Emma will monitor those and will answer at the end. I hope I will not talk for long, so we'll have more time for discussion, and I can answer questions as much as I can. Let me share my screen. So again, this is about the relief package that just passed by the Senate and signed by the President, and how it impacts asylum seekers and asylees specifically, but it also may be useful for any other immigrants specifically. So we'll talk about the changes in unemployment insurance and pandemic unemployment insurance specifically. There are many different abbreviations of different programs, like extended benefits, federal pandemic unemployment compensation, what is the difference between unemployment insurance and pandemic unemployment assistance. I'll try to address those, but will not go into super detail. Then we'll talk about the stimulus checks that are coming to people from IRS, and another big issue was the eviction moratorium and related rent relief programs, and of course the questions and discussion. So I'll start with this new extension that is given to current claimants, the people who receive regular unemployment insurance or this new pandemic unemployment assistance now. Their most benefits have expired just earlier this week, and people were very anxious about what will happen to them now, because the cash payments may have stopped for many of them. And this new bill give a huge relief, so they provide 11 additional weeks for any claimants until March 14th next year. It's not a long time, but still 11 weeks of additional cash benefits. So people who are already receiving unemployment insurance or pandemic unemployment insurance, or have exhausted all of their benefits, they have to restart certifying or continue certifying weekly. So there's nothing here to do. They don't have to file a new claim. They have just continued the existing claim, which just maybe have just finished, but they continue. But for some people, the so-called benefit year has finished. It means they exhausted everything, but this concerns only for people who start claiming before the pandemic started. I mean, started claiming either last year or in January or February this year. For these people, the benefit year has finished some couple of months ago. And these people can still file a new claim and continue and get this 11 weeks of additional benefits. So it's a kind of specific situation, and I know it doesn't apply for many of our clients, because majority of people we work with, they just applied in March and April, and they just have to continue their existing benefits, so they have to go and restart certifying again every week as usual. What's the difference with this 11 weeks? So people get this extra $300, which is called Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation. It's a long name for this additional $300 a week. So if person gets $200 regular benefit, so they get additional $300 on top of it during this 11 weeks, which is great news. People remember they got this additional $600 before, and this $600 stopped in July, and that was a big drop in the amount of benefits that people were receiving. So this time it's not 600, it's 300 on top whatever you receive already. And again, this 300 will last for 11 weeks until middle of March. But this is all concerned for people who already been receiving the benefits, either through regular unemployment or through specific pandemic unemployment assistance. Then there's a question, if you're applying now, if you were just laid off for the first time, or you lost your self-employed gig just now, so then there is a little problem. For self-employed people, you still can apply for the specific pandemic unemployment assistance until March 14. But on March 14, this program will be shut down. So pandemic unemployment assistance will completely stop because this program was created specifically for pandemic emergency. It's a kind of public assistance program under Department of Labor. It's not totally related to regular unemployment, but it's under the umbrella of unemployment insurance. And the problem here is that additional documentation of eligibility will be required starting now in January. So it will be harder to get, even for these 3 months from January to March, if people newly apply for pandemic unemployment assistance, it may be tougher to get. This, again, this is for people who don't have regular unemployment, or for gig workers, for self-unemployed farmers and so forth, who usually are not covered, never covered by unemployment insurance before. As for regular unemployment insurance, people now, if they lost job, they can apply for regular unemployment insurance. It's a regular, like many Americans know, it's a program, permanent program. It's always existed and will exist. It will continue. And it's for those who worked for wages for specific employers for at least 15 months before applying and were laid off now. And it usually provides 26 weeks of benefits. And people who will apply now, they will get this additional 300 on top. It's for new claimants. Usually unemployment insurance offer from $104 to $504 a week, depending on your prior wages. So they calculate it based on your history of your wages. And you apply, in New York State, you apply from Department of Labor website listed here. So I mean, people who have just lost jobs still can apply for both programs, but this self-employed pandemic unemployment assistance will totally shut down on March 14. So I expect a lot of questions about unemployment insurance and pandemic assistance, but I will move on to the stimulus check, and then we can return back to unemployment assistance. So stimulus payment come from federal tax authority, from IRS. It's not from Department of Labor. It doesn't have to do it doesn't have to do anything with the state. Department of Labor is a state agency. This payment comes directly from federal government. Most people who received already a previous $1,200 check, they will receive it again. You don't have to do anything. They will send either by direct deposit or by paper check, depending what you had on your last tax return. But if you didn't file, you still can claim based on your residency status. And here's the specific rules for immigrants, right? So only people who live here enough and also have social security numbers can claim this stimulus payment. if you're filing a tax, if you didn't file tax return for last year and you're going to file right now for this year, for 2020, you will receive this payment later as a rebate. So you have to file and try to get it as a rebate. So you will not get a check probably if IRS have no information about you, your address, and your bank account. Immigrants only with specific resident alien status will receive the payment. So it means either you have a green card or you have a substantial presence test. It's applied for those people who apply for asylum and waiting for more than 3 years, or asylees who've been here for some years and all these people still have social security number, right? So people who do not have social security number, basically, they do not qualify for this payment because it's a federal benefit. Though there are couples, married couples who file a joint tax return, and one person have social security number, another person doesn't have in the family. Last time they refused to give the stimulus check to this kind of families. This time you can get person who has social security in this joint tax return will receive the 600 plus any children listed on your tax return will receive, each child will receive $600, but the person without social security will not get anything. Also, this $1,200, you can claim it back if you didn't receive it last time because they refuse, because one person in your family has no social security, but now you can go retroactively and claim this $1,200 from last time as well. The IRS, again, you don't have to do anything if you filed taxes anytime before, because IRS has your bank information or your address to send you the payment. On IRS website, irs.gov, there is a Check My Payment portal, but it's not updated yet. Next week, probably it will go live and you can check where is your money. So we'll have questions about this, so I am ready to discuss it in more detail, but I'm going to move to another topic. So there is a lot of rumors, just to finish with that, there are a lot of rumors about, will I get $2,000 or $600? Well, $2,000 is being discussed in the House and in the Senate right now. So that's, we don't know, there's no decision yet. Definitely you will receive $600 per person and per child if you have Social Security and appropriate immigration status, you will receive this. But if the Senate decide not to make stimulus payment of $2,000, the $600 already starting getting out to people. So it's $2,000 maybe will pass, maybe will not. So we don't know, just wait for it. But at least you're guaranteed to have this $600. It's a one-time payment. It's not like a weekly as the Department of Labor. This is one-time payment per person. So a different but related topic. So in this new law, they also talk about eviction moratorium. So nobody can kick you out of your house during the COVID emergency. The federal government banned any eviction until end of January, but New York State and New Jersey much more generous in this way. So evictions are blocked in any place in New York State until 1st of May next year. And this is what it means if you rent a house and you owe a lot of money and you didn't pay your rent, still nobody can kick you out of your house, okay? So, and you have financial hardship, for example, you lost your income, so why you're not paying, there should be some reason, right? Why you cannot pay rent. But eviction's still allowed. You heard in the news, the people still being evicted because the people who live in the house, they can create health or safety risks of being disruptive or violent. to neighbors. So there can be this type of reasons that the people can be kicked out of their residence. Even there is a moratorium, you cannot be evicted. You still owe all this money you didn't pay for rent, you still owe it to your landlord. And this is the problem, right? So for this, the bill created and allocated some money for rent relief program. So for rent relief, last time some people tried to apply it and got rejected because of stringent eligibility criteria. This time New York State expanded the eligibility. So you still can apply. If you try to apply and got a rejection letter officially, you don't have to do anything because they will take your application again and will reconsider. But you have to apply now if you lost your income during the year, especially in spring. So this applies to spring from April to July. From April to July, if you lost your income, then you can apply. And for this program, you do not have to owe rent money to apply. You have to have rent burden. It means that, for example, you have to borrow a lot of money to pay your rent, or you barely scraped and saved on your food to pay your rent, and it was a big hardship for you. So this is good news. So if you don't owe any money to your landlord, you still can apply. Whatever you get will be applied to the future months of your rent. And there is certain criteria. So
Hello? Hello?
Can you mute yourself for a second?
Hello?
So for rent relief program, there is certain criteria. This is again about New York State, but New Jersey have a similar program. I feel like in New York State, a more generous program. If you live in New York State, New York City, you have to rent an apartment here. You don't have to owe any money to your landlord, but it's difficult for you to pay rent, for example. One person in your family have to have a social security number, even a child. So you have to demonstrate that you lost income between April and July. That's a kind of a main criteria here. And then you have to be low income, and then you have to be rent burdened to apply. There are other criteria you can check. Also wanted to mention about New Jersey. So New Jersey also prohibits any eviction. If you live in New Jersey, nobody can take you out of your home, and you cannot lose your home if you owe money. So at least until March 20, it's probably going to be extended. So there is no, so you cannot lose your house. This is done so people don't go to crowded shelters and things like that. So if you live someplace, you have to stay in your place, even if you cannot pay rent right now. But try to apply for rent relief program either to New Jersey and New York State websites. So this is a kind of my basic overview, and I hope that you can ask us a lot of questions.
Great, thank you so much, Tanzilya. Let's open up for questions. People can ask their own questions. You can put it in the chat if you'd prefer not to speak. We did get one question in the chat from Dina related to the stimulus check, I believe. Can someone receive it if they have a temporary social security number, not for work purposes, or an ITIN number?
Is it for stimulus check? Dina, is it for stimulus check? You mean or for the unemployment? If it's for stimulus check, I think.
Yeah, stimulus check.
Well, for stimulus check, another big criteria that you have to have a substantial residency here. People with ITIN numbers cannot receive stimulus at all, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
And if you have a temporary social security which has no work permit attached to it, so it's also can be problematic. the main criteria that you're paying taxes and you filed taxes either for last year or for this year, and you have a social security number and you have a substantial residency in this country. This kind of all criteria. So it's because it's a federal benefit, it's a little tougher to get for immigrants, especially asylum seekers than people without social security.
So if someone's been here a substantial amount of time with an ITIN, they probably are not eligible.
No.
Okay.
Because the stimulus is mostly, they mention for citizens, and the people who've been paying taxes for some time, and also people who've been living here with legal and permanent status for some time. Any other questions? You can type or ask in person.
I have a question.
Yes, David.
If someone was on unemployment and used up the benefits, so they're past 26 weeks, and they still haven't found a job, are they entitled to the PUA or the UI?
People who qualify for the regular unemployment and exhausted their 26 weeks, what happened this year, they provided extended benefits. First, extended benefits of 13 weeks and another 20-something weeks. So, I mean, the people actually were getting regular unemployment for more than 50 weeks this year and still getting it, because usually in recessions or during emergencies, the local governments extend this, because regular unemployment is a state program, right? It's paid from the taxes that employers pay, and the governor make a decision to provide extended weeks, 13 or 11 or 20 weeks on top of 26 weeks. And this has been happening the whole of 2020. And I think it will continue next year as well, because the health emergency hasn't finished yet. So if initially people qualify for unemployment insurance, either they have to file a new claim if there was a break, or just continue claiming, because extended benefits, I know people been receiving at least 57 weeks now this year.
I see. So there really are no people that have exhausted the unemployment benefit. They've just extended it. And those people will now, since they're continuing on it, they'll automatically get the 600. They don't have to do anything but continue to do their weekly declaration. Or
yes, 300 on top, right? 300 on top regular benefits, and this 11 weeks is, yes, extended for everyone.
I'm sorry, 300, right? Okay.
Yes, extended for everyone. Also, there is like the thing that called the benefit year, so people can claim unemployment insurance once a year for a certain time. So there may be people getting off unemployment. The problem is they cannot switch from unemployment insurance to pandemic unemployment assistance. Again, pandemic unemployment assistance is the kind of public assistance for self-employed, people without work history, people who got sick or their children got sick or the school closed and the mothers have to stay home. It's kind of for specific situations only, who have no formal wage history. So they cannot switch between two programs, unfortunately. Other questions?
And Tanzilya, is it correct that when someone reaches the end of their benefit year, they'll get a notification through their portal about how to reapply to restart their next benefit year?
Yes. I don't know the specific detail. Yes, for if your benefit year finished, they just recommend you to start a new claim. Even to get this additional 11 weeks, again, to every unemployed person who qualify for either of the programs they have. So they're getting this 11 weeks. Even their benefit year expired a couple of months ago, for example. Now they have to file a new claim to get this 11 weeks of benefits, which is good news. So because some people really who applied before pandemic. They were unemployed before pandemic. This is a group of people, right, applied last year or in January, and they already exhausted their benefit year. And they've been without any benefits, unemployed and without anything in the last 2-3 months. And now they can apply and get this 11 weeks at least. That's because it's a specific emergency federal extension.
Great. Any other questions?
We found it's very useful if people have trouble or getting denied benefits, or they feel like they qualify for a stimulus check and didn't get a definite answer, to speak or to file a complaint or request for assistance from their local elected officials. And I know a number of asylum seekers got a very good help from their local elected officials and their aides who are sitting and working on this all the time. And they've been very helpful because they have a direct line to the government and they can solve a lot of issues with unemployment and also with IRS.
And if anybody wants kind of guidance on how to do that or templates, you can reach out to us and we can provide some material that we've used that's been successful in the past.
I also encourage people to try and apply for New York State rent relief program. Even people don't feel they qualify, but majority of our clients are so low income and rent burdened. If even without social security number, even one person, a child has social security in the family, they can apply and get this, and they don't have to owe rent, as I say, which is a great thing, that you may get some money to pay for your future months of rent or to replenish your security deposit and stuff like that. This is the program exists. Mostly it covers the rent you owe. You didn't pay for some months and they will cover it. But I encourage people to use this program. This time eligibility criteria expanded and more people will qualify for that.
But if someone lost, as many of my clients did, lost their income, they were laid off before April 1st. So a lot of our people were laid off in February. They can't qualify for the rent relief.
But they still, if they lost job in February, they still had no income, let's say from April to July, if they didn't return to work, right? So April to July, they still were rent burdened. For example, many people have zero income in April, June, July, right? So
yes.
April, May, June, July, still, they definitely qualify because they lost.
I misunderstood. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes. Is it true, Tanzilya, this time around that payments, if someone's approved for the rent relief program, the payment will still go directly to the landlord?
Yeah.
Applicants will be required to provide their landlord's contact information as part of this application.
Yes, if people sublet or have shared rooms, so they can procure some kind of letters. If they don't have official lease, they can get a letter with signature and the kind of a affidavit who rents them the room, for example, because this is a situation with our clients, right? You don't have an official lease because you sublet a room or corner in the room. So the letter, I think, will suffice. And if there's any issues with that, we can also help to advocate.
We are continuing to provide on a limited basis legal housing guidance. And so if you or someone you know is facing issues with a landlord, a landlord who seems not to be complying with the eviction moratorium provisions, you can email me. My email's in my name right now, on my Zoom name. Also, if you have someone who's trying to apply for the rent relief program and is in one of these atypical housing situations that makes it more difficult to fill out the application, please reach out to us because we can also help them navigate how best to complete that application.
And you may have just an ITIN number, that's fine too, because I checked the application, they accept ITIN numbers there instead of Social Security, or you can provide your child's Social Security number.
Great. If there are no more questions, thank you, Tanzilya, for presenting and for fielding the questions. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Again, I will post this to the website. It'll be on our homepage for a period if you want to direct people there to see it this afternoon. Maria and myself will stay on this Zoom meeting. We're about to lead into our weekly Wednesday kind of open hours for anyone to stop by and ask questions. So we'll be available if you want to hang on and ask questions in a kind of smaller group setting when the recording is off. Yeah, that's everything. Thanks for coming. Enjoy your day. Happy New Year.
Great, thank you so much.